The biggest cyber threat you can't ignore. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Jadee Hanson, author, Chief Information Security Officer, and Chief Information Officer at Code 42. Welcome, Jadee.
Thanks for having me, Tonya.
What does Code 42 do?
Yeah, Code 42 is a security software company, and the software that we build is a solution for security organizations. And the solution essentially is technology that sits on the company's endpoint. So enterprise security company or security teams will run this, and it will sit on an endpoint. So a Mac, a Windows, a Linux machine, and it will monitor all file movement by your end users, and it will help you identify where you have risky data movement external to the organization. And so that's going to cover any sort of file movement outside of the cloud locations that you use. So whether you're using Google Drive or Box or OneDrive, it's going to cover any file movement that you have on your endpoint to physical media, as well as anything that you're emailing externally outside of your organization.
You co-authored a new book, Inside Jobs: Why Insider Risk is the Biggest Cyber Threat You Can't Ignore. Give us some of the examples of the aha moments you and your co-authors experienced forming the book's foundation.
Yeah, this is something we're really proud of. Every book is a labor of love, and it's so fun that like some of the things that we've learned selling insider threat software are coming to life in this book. And so the book really explores kind of cultural shifts with technology and economic drivers that shape what we would call collaborative organizations today. And so, it's no longer where you have people doing one thing here, working on a piece of data over here, they finish and they hand it off to someone over here. It is very much, we're in an industry and a world where collaboration happens every day, all day. And so it explores that shift quite a bit. The other thing that it does is it explores the concept of security moving away from being big brother and being the part of the organization that constantly says no or blocks things. And it helps to frame up how the reader really needs to think about security in a different way, in a more a new way to do security, where you are partnering with the rest of the organization. You are enabling the rest of the organization to do the job that they need to do, still while keeping information secure within the company.
The motivation for malicious insider threats is pretty obvious. But give us an example of a completely innocent situation that still created an urgent insider risk.
Yeah, there's most of the insider risks that we see are non-malicious or people just trying to do their jobs. And I think that that's something that this book really explores. We want to trust all of the users at the companies that we work for. And this book dives into what that means, how we need to be monitoring employees the right way, not monitoring their productivity with technology, but instead monitoring to make sure that we keep the data that our companies produce secure. It really is not about monitoring the individual employee and how they work. It really is about monitoring data. Many of the cases that we dig into are non-malicious. And so it's the end user that accidentally shares a document with a public link, and in Google Drive and OneDrive and Box, that is a really easy thing to do. It's a really easy setting to miss, and just with one click, your very sensitive, important company data is now public for the world to see. And so those are some of the things that happen that we can follow up on with the right software in place to see those things.
You alluded to this already, but what role does locked down, heavy handed security, access limited culture play in creating insider risk?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it feels like that is the way that many old security teams have operated. And what we want to do with this book is really push the security team beyond that, and to explore a world where you are enabling the organizations that you work with. I think that this heavy-handed block things, prevent things, really gets us nowhere. Our security organizations, and a security organization in every company needs to enable the businesses that they work with. Without like the right collaboration in place and the right support of collaboration, security teams can kind of grind innovation and advancements within a company to a halt. And so the book really pushes the security teams kind of outside of their comfort zone to explore a new way to do insider risk, and to do it in a way where you are no longer the team preventing innovation and advancing the company. You're the team enabling the company to move forward.
How is the book structured, and how might it be used as a part of an organization wide training effort?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the book has so many interesting, juicy stories in it. For one, the other thing what we did with the book is there's different chapters that are written from the point of view of different people in an organization, and so you get the insights from the CEO. How does the CEO think about this problem? You get the insights from leader of the HR team, so a chief human resource officer, a chief people officer. You also get to hear from general counsel or your chief legal officer. And so and obviously you're going to hear a lot from the security point of view. And so you hear from each of these different leaders in an organization how they think about the problem. The other thing that we're trying to offer within the book is more framework, like more of a framework, a simple framework. We're not going to throw a million controls at you, but we want to give you a framework of how you go about solving the problem, and what you put in place at a lower maturity level versus a higher maturity level. And then finally, we want to provide you with the tools and the stories that are needed to kind of sell the problem to your leadership. As part of the book, we include kind of a way to get free insider threat training. And we offer that. We can brand it for you pretty easily. And so that's another kind of part of the book, is we want to make sure that we set you up for success from the very beginning, and give you the structure needed to get a sustainable and acceptable insider risk program off the ground.
All right. Where can we find the book, and how can our audience find and connect with you?
Yeah, the book is available on Amazon. It is pre-ordered now, but will be available very soon. And then connecting with me, I would love to connect with anyone who wants a deep dive on this topic. I am on LinkedIn, so feel free to send me a note.
Thanks again, Jadee.
Thank you.
That's Jadee Hanson, Chief Information Security Officer and Chief Information Officer at Code 42, and co-author of Inside Jobs: Why Insider Risk is the Biggest Cyber Threat You Can't Ignore. And find more of my interviews right here or at tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.